So the devs have listened to the community and are going to bring a whole host of changes to the Airborne update. And a lot of those changes are demands that the player base was asking. So let's just take a moment and just appreciate how good we have it. Not only do these devs give us free updates, they also listen to us and value our feedback. Especially nowadays, there's a lot of game companies and developers that are just like, I'm gonna do my own thing, you know? So let's just be appreciative and let's put some lovely words in the comments and in the Foxhole Discord for the devs, and let's all kiss them a little bit, consensually of course. Now let's get to the changes. Aircraft production costs are too high. Yes, that is true. So rare metal drops will be increased for the first war of Airborne. Sledgehammers will be in early tech, and there are gonna be a bunch of other modifiers as well. So let's hope that people use those rares for planes and not for other stuff. But this is very good to see. But not only are the resources going to be easier to gather, they're also reducing the cost of the airplanes. Reducing the rare alloys needed to build the assembly stations for them, but also to the costs of the airplanes. Now, exact numbers haven't been given here, but this is a very good sign as well, that the devs are listening to us. Oh my god, praise the devs. Have I said we should praise the devs yet? So they shifted rare alloy cost of the aircraft parts into the aircraft frame instead. This will allow players to store the valuable part of the plane in their private stockpiles. And to make sure that aircraft parts are still meeting their intended goals, they've shifted facility costs from the aircraft frame to the aircraft parts. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't build the planes myself, so I have no clue what this means, but let me know in the comments below, because I read this sentence like 3 times and I'm still kind of confused. Again, English isn't my first language, guys. Please help me out here. Anyways, did I say that we should praise the devs yet? Or you can now produce one pilot uniform with a single rare instead of having to build a crate of them. And they can repackage them individually to put them in crates so they can be, again, stored. And they've also reduced the cost for scout planes to make it more accessible for solo players. Because yeah, right now they were costing like the same amount for a tank, which is a little bit crazy, especially because a tank you're going to play with at least 3 players. And a scout plate you're going to be in with 2, maybe 1. So I'm glad to see that they're reducing that as well. Now onto the big one, the one that I think if they just did this, I would have been happy. The fuel consumption on aircrafts is too high, and god damn it, thank god they're changing this. Now when you're traveling at slower speeds, you're going to use less fuel. Previously that was not the case. Fuel consumption was a set rate that could not be changed by going slower or faster, so I'm glad they did this. The fuel is now tied to your speed, and if you fly slower, you use less speed. Editing banana here, I have no clue what I said here. If you fly, you use less fuel, that's what I meant. Especially in dogfights, when you're fighting and you're, going a little bit slower and faster, you're gonna now conserve some of that fuel and have at least some left over so you can go back to your base and not crash. Now the devs say that this will increase flight range, and the increased flight range might pose a risk to backline logi, and that is true. And for that, we need more anti-air. Honestly, we do not have enough options for anti-air right now. And that brings us to our second point. Anti-air was useless. The in-place machine guns now use 20mm and have been rebalanced to counter low-flying aircraft. All of these machine guns that can be used for anti-aircraft purposes have had their range increased, their tracking enhanced, and their accuracy increased. So now hopefully we can hit those aircraft and actually damage them as well. But the devs did say that these aren't meant to take out large groups or skilled pilots. They're just meant to deter any reckless pilots that come a little too close to the machine guns. The specific AA guns that are coming in this update are also not effective, but they're working on a solution for that as we speak, and more details will come out later this week. Then onto the dive bomber and the torpedo bomber. In my previous video, I called it the torpedo dive bomber and the dive bomber bombed bomber or something. Yeah, I don't play with a lot of planes, okay? I'm a D&D nerd, so anyways, both of these aircraft combined with other planes pose a very serious risk to ships, And the best way to defend against them is by having fighters nearby. At least that was the goal, and previously that was not really happening. The torpedo bomber was doing too much damage, and the dive bomber's damage was being heavily mitigated. So they decreased the torpedo damage and increased the dive bomb damage. Fuck. They improved the carry capacity of the dive bomber as well, increased their chances of disabling subsystems, and reduced the mitigation that large ships have for armor-piercing damage. So these two planes will be direct counters to large ships and also smaller ships. But there's balance below for details, so we'll see. We'll see in a second what that balance is. Anyways, did I say we should praise the devs yet? So armor-piercing damage is now the premier damage type to use on small ship warfare. The Colonial Battleship now has armor-piercing turrets, so it can better defend against light threats. The Warden Frigate, however, has a increased reload time now. This was to reduce the damage per second to compensate for the complexity of reloading multiple barrels on the other ships. In the next update, you'll be able to do a big reload instead of reloading one barrel at a time, so that's why they did that. They also reduced the rare alloy cost for storm cannons and the rail storm cannon. They've also increased the health of several backline structures, so planes can't just easily take them out. Reduced the damage of bombers, as they will be able to fly further and are cheaper, so you're going to see a lot more bombers instead of just single bombers going out. They're still looking for more feedback from backline builders, so backline builders, don't be shy. Tell the devs what you want. Sadly, still no mention of a suicide or a kill me button, but I believe we'll get it at one point. Do you believe as well? If you do, like and subscribe. And yeah, that's been it. Then they also did a bunch of bug fixes, but we don't have to get into that. Anyways, this is absolutely great. Like I said, I would have been happy with just the fuel change, but they went above and beyond. And yeah, wow. Did I say we should praise the devs yet? Or I think I did, right? Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Again, thank you to the devs for doing this. Goddamn, love you guys. Platonically, nothing weird. Okay, see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.